We want to show you how to spend and enjoy what you want. We want you to live off what you want, not what you need. I give people a choice. Do you want a financial plan designed for you to live frugally and leave your kids and Uncle Sam most of it? Or do you want a financial plan designed for you to maximize what you spend and, oh, by the way, leave your kids what's left? Taxes, inflation, world events, they all impact and erode what you're doing in the stock market. That is not financial planning. That is financial winging it. And you can't afford to do that. And when my clients are done working with us, again, they're blown away, and they all wish they had met us 10, 15 years earlier. We're going to spend some time now talking about traditional financial planning. If you're watching this, chances are you've heard about all the benefits to maxing out a 401k and paying down your home and utilizing the stock market for long-term growth on your retirement savings. Chances are, however, you have not heard about all the pitfalls. Are you doing all of these traditional investments and traditional strategies because they make all the sense in the world, or are you doing it because your next door neighbor's doing it, your coworker's doing it, or because maybe you just don't know what else to do with your money? Have you ever analyzed what this traditional financial plan looks like during retirement? Most people haven't. When you're done watching this presentation, you're going to never look at your retirement planning the same. If you knew what you were doing for retirement was a mistake, when would you want to find out? Look at the photo of this traffic jam. It's relevant. If you were planning a vacation and you had a 3 or 4 hour drive ahead of you, how far in advance would you want to know that this mess was in front of you? In fact, if I knew this was ahead of me, I'd reroute through 4 or 5 other states just to avoid this. Well, retirement planning is the same thing. Once you come up to this traffic jam, it's too late. Once you get behind all these other cars, you can't reroute. If you realize at that point you've implemented the wrong strategies, it's too late. You can't turn back the clock. You can't become 35 again. So you need to make sure that what you're doing for retirement planning truly is the best thing to do with your money. If you stop and think about the goal for retirement, what is it? Is it to get to 60 or 65 or whenever you want to retire? Is it to get to that age with the biggest bucket of money? Don't get me wrong, the more money you have at retirement, the better. But that's not the goal. The goal at retirement is to be able to maintain the same lifestyle as you do prior to retirement. But most people do not have a plan to achieve that. The number one fear of all seniors is not death, it's running out of money. Do you have a plan to make sure that your money does not run out? And just as importantly, do you have a financial plan designed and structured for you to spend and enjoy your money? 99% of the people that I see do not. So when it comes to retirement, there really are 2 paths you can take. You can go down the path where you can be person A. And person A is the person who's going to live frugally with their money, and they're going to leave their kids everything when they pass away, their kids and Uncle Sam. Or you could be person B. Person B is the couple or the person that wants to spend and enjoy their money, keep the same lifestyle, and oh, by the way, leave your kids and Uncle Sam what's left. Here's the problem. Most people are on a path to be person A. Their money is positioned in such a way that they cannot spend down and enjoy it. They're going to have to live frugally with their money. You are not going to spend all of your money. Why? Because the number one fear of people is outliving their money. Ask yourself, how long does your money have to last? It has to last until death. But not just your death, assuming you're married, it's got to be the death of you and your spouse. And since you do not know when that is, what do most people end up doing? They end up living conservatively, living frugally during retirement because you don't know how long you're going to live, and you also don't know if you're going to get sick and need money for medical expenses. You don't know how the stock market's going to perform. So most retirees end up living a frugal lifestyle. Nobody wants that. That's the number one thing we're going to do for you. We're going to position your money in such a way that you're going to actually be able to spend significantly more money during retirement and leave Uncle Sam less in taxes. And oh, by the way, your kids will get a few bucks too. At the time of this recording, we have a global financial crisis. In fact, for many years after this recording, we're going to have a problem, not just here in the US, but again, globally. And I want to point out something here. I want to have a little bit of fun here. People throw around millions and billions and trillions like we're talking about 10s and 20s. Do you know what $1 trillion looks like? Let's have some fun with this and take a look. Here's a $100 bill. Everybody's seen a $100 bill? What about $10,000? What does $10,000 look like? Well, here's an image of a $10,000. It's basically a packet of $100 bills. How about $1 million? What's $1 million look like? It's 100 packets of $10,000. It's the size of a phone book. Doesn't take too much space. How about $100 million? $100 million fills an entire pallet. How about $1 billion? $1 billion fits on 10 standard size pallets. Here's the eye opener. How about $1 trillion? $1 trillion, look at the size of this. And notice the individual in the lower left-hand corner. That's $1 trillion, and these pallets are double stacked. Here's one more view. This photo is a representation of our national deficit. We have a $15 trillion with a T, $15 trillion national deficit right now. This deficit is not going anywhere anytime soon. People don't understand the magnitude of this. We have a major problem. Why am I showing this? Because you need to do all that you can do to maximize the returns on your money, eliminate losing money, right? And put your money in tax-efficient vehicles, because if you don't think taxes are going higher in the future, you're kidding yourself. It's time to get serious. You really need to take control of your finances. You need to make sure what you're doing is the most efficient and best thing to do with your money, and you can't just have a retirement plan designed on what everybody else is doing. You cannot rely on anybody else. Are you relying on anybody else to secure retirement? You're relying on any employer to take care of you? I hope not. How about a pension? Can you rely on any pension? I hope you're not relying on an employer or a pension. I hope you're not relying on an inheritance. I really hope you're not relying on Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid. We all know the issues they have. How about your children? You're relying on them to take care of you? I hope not. There's a storm coming, and your kids are going to feel the brunt of it. How about the stock market? That's what everybody's relying on. See, the myth with the stock market is so many people think that the stock market has an 80-year track record of doing 7-8% returns. And I'm here to tell you it does. But here's the problem. You do not have a 70 or 80-year time horizon to invest in the stock market. Most people have a 20, 30, 40-year window of investing and retirement investments. And the stock market has plenty of periods in time that it hasn't moved for 20 or 30 years. Point is this. You got one crack to properly prepare for retirement. You got to make it count, and you got to be doing things that financially make all the sense in the world. And again, you can't be doing things with your money just because you don't know what else to do. It's time to find out all your options, and we can help you. I want to get into some educating on what people are doing with their money and the flaws, because again, I know you've heard about the positives, what to do with traditional planning. We're going to take a look at the negatives. The largest chunks of people's money are in 401ks and IRAs and home equity. This is not up for debate. This is the largest chunk of people's net worth in these two asset classes. So you would think if that's where all the money is and that's where all the wealth is, then naturally it must be the best spot for all your money, right? Well, let's see if you think differently after we go through this. The perfect retirement in most people, here's where most people are heading. They're heading towards a plan where when they get to retirement, they're going to have large chunks of money in their IRAs and 401ks. Their house is going to be paid off, and their children are grown and out of the house. Right? Is that where you're heading? Is that the path you're going? Be honest with yourself. You probably are. And on the surface, again, this looks like the perfect retirement situation. Well, let's take a look and see how perfect it really is. So the first thing I want to educate you on is the difference between average returns and actual returns when it comes to the stock market. There's a big difference, and you'll never forget this. This is a real eye-opener. Let's say you take $10,000 and you invest it in the stock market for 8 straight years. So it's $10,000 in each year, that's $80,000 total, and you get a 10.63% average over that period in time. If you get a financial calculator out and do the math, $80,000 in at a 10.63% rate of return, your money would grow, or you would expect it to grow, to $129,446. Right? Wrong. Your money after that period in time is only worth $81,000. Now, what do these numbers represent? 10.63% rate of return. That is the average return of the S&P 500 from 1995 to 2002, just to make a point. The S&P 500, which has outperformed, I believe, 75% of all mutual funds, it did indeed average 10.63% during that 8-year period. But that's the average return. That's the return that you should care less about. How do you get 10.63%? You take 5 tremendous yields from 1995 to 99, and you combine them with 3 horrible years from 2000, 2001, 2002. You divide by 8, and you get 10.63. So yes, that's exactly what it averaged. However, what happened? How did you get less than 1% rate of return? After 5 years, putting $50,000 in, your money is doubled. Your $50,000 is worth $102 after 5 years. Then in 2000, you lost 10% of the 102. Then in 2001, you lost 13% of the 101. Then in 2002, you lost 23% of the 96,000. 80,000 in. At the end of that 8-year period, your money is worth 81,000. That's less than 1% rate of return. You'd have been better off putting your money in CDs. Let's fast forward through 2011. Here you look at the past 17 years, and I specifically use this 17-year period because I want to include the 5 greatest years the stock market's ever had, and that's between 1995 and again 2000. That 5-year period is the best 5 years the market's ever had. So if you go from 1995 to 2011, the S&P 500 went up 13 of the 17 years, and it averaged a little over 8%. But again, we don't care about the average rate of return. Your $170,000 invested in this 17-year period was worth $216,000. That's less than 3%. You'd have been better off putting your money in the bank during this period of time with a whole lot less stress. See, the average returns are always higher than the actual returns. Why is that? Let's do a little math test. Take a $10,000 investment and lose 50% in year 1. But in year 2, you make 50% on your investment. As you can see, at the end of the second year, you do not have $10,000. You only have $7,500. When you lose money, it takes you 3 or 4 years to get back to where you were. And everybody in America has felt this, particularly since 2000. You can have 5-6 years of great returns, but all it takes is 1 or 2 years of bad returns in the stock market to wipe out all of those good gains. That's the stock market in general. For now, though, let's take a harder look at where most people are putting their money when it comes to retirement planning. And that's IRAs and 401ks. When you put money into these vehicles, it's tax favored. It accumulates tax favored. However, when you pull the money out, it's taxed, and when you transfer it to your heirs, it's taxed. So let me ask you, do you think taxes in the future are going lower? I can't hear what you're saying, but just about everybody I ask laughs when I ask that question. Nobody thinks taxes are going lower in the future. Nobody. Most people feel taxes are going higher, a lot higher. Why is that? Just remember the photo you saw earlier. We have a $15 trillion deficit. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. The only way that deficit's going away is the government has to tax you more and provide you with less benefits. If tax planning is not a significant piece of your retirement planning, you're missing it. So let's get back to the rest of the story. Your 401k and IRA contribution, let's say you put in $4,000 a year for 30 years into an IRA. That's $120,000 going in. Let's say you're in a 33% tax bracket. Whether you're in a 33%, 25%, 28%, it doesn't matter, as you're going to see in a minute. Each year you contribute $4,000, you're saving $1,300 in taxes. So over a 30-year period, that's $39,000 in taxes that you deferred. Not bad. But let's look at the rest of the story. Let's fast forward to when you take the money out, however. So let's be optimistic. Let's assume you get a 10% rate of return on your money for 30 years. Your $4,000 contribution would grow to $723,000. But do you lump sum the money out during retirement? No. Nobody lump sums the money out. Where would you put it? It's got to sit somewhere. So what do people do? They keep it in their IRAs. So let's say you take out 10% annually. That's $72,000. Again, you're in a 33% tax bracket. You're going to now pay a tax of $23,760. You're going to net $48,000. You see where I'm going with this? Between the ages of 65 and 85, you're going to pay $500,000 in taxes for the right to have saved $39,000. Can somebody please explain to me how this is a tax-efficient retirement plan? Yet everybody is on this path. Think about it. If you were a farmer, would you rather be taxed on the seed or the harvest? Of course, you want to be taxed on the seed. It's a smaller number. Yet everybody, when they sign up for a 401k or an IRA, are inadvertently signing up to be taxed on the harvest. But wait a minute, I know what you're all saying. My accountant told me, don't pay taxes today. Pay taxes down the road when you're retired and in a lower tax bracket. I don't want to mince words. If you are in a lower tax bracket when you retire, that means you have failed financially. Why on earth would you want to put a financial plan together designed to be in a lower tax bracket? If you're in a lower tax bracket when you retire, it means you have not saved enough, or the money you have saved has not performed well. I got a better idea. Let's plan on you being successful. Let's plan on you being in a higher tax bracket. Let's put a financial plan together designed to handle the increased taxes. Doesn't that sound like a better financial plan? What you see here is a history of the marginal taxes since the IRS came into being in 1913. People complain about taxes today. They don't realize how low taxes really are compared to where they've been. We are in the worst economic shape since when? Since the Great Depression. And look how low taxes were during the Great Depression. So what happened during the 30s? The government got involved, put all kinds of stimulus packages together to try and stimulate the economy and get people working. But then what else? World War II kicked in, the Korean War, Vietnam War. What had to pay for all of these programs and all these wars? Increased taxes. And that's why you see that they went through the roof and stayed through the roof into the 80s. So here we are. At the time of this recording, taxes, relatively speaking, are as low as they've ever been. What's going on today? We have a $15 trillion deficit. The government is putting all kinds of health care and stimulus packages in place, kind of like they did in 1933. And what else? We got this continual war on terrorism. Sound like history is repeating itself? If you think taxes are not going through the roof sometime in the near future, you're kidding yourself. So let's get back to this perfect retirement where you had large amount of money in your 401ks and IRAs, your house was paid off, your children were grown out of the house. I refer to this as the retirement plan perfect storm. Why? Because when you pull your money out of your 401k, taxes are going to be higher, aren't they? They have to be higher. The biggest deductions that you get today are the deductions you receive for mortgage interest, as well as the deductions you receive for raising children. But you're not going to have either, because you were in a rush to pay off your home, you just wanted your house paid off, and your kids are grown and out of the house. And let's face it, we want that. But the point is, when you pull money out of your 401ks and IRAs, you have nothing to offset the taxes. And the IRS is going to waffle you with this tax bill. One more thing. Nobody puts enough emphasis on the lack of liquidity during this 20 or 30-year period. Think of any successful business owner. Think of Donald Trump, for example. Do you think Donald Trump takes the assets of his business and puts them in vehicles that he can't touch for 20 or 30 years? No way. Donald Trump needs access to his money so he can invest in new technology, new opportunities when they come up, hire new employees. Donald Trump is not locking up his money in vehicles he can't touch for 20 and 30 years, yet the American public has bought into doing so. Why is that? Nobody is measuring the cost of not having access to your money. You need money to take advantage of other opportunities that come up, and they always come up. What about the company match? Well, if you want to contribute money to a 401k and get the company match, that's fine. Personally speaking, if in order to get 10 cents out of you, I've got to give you $1 of mine and lock it up for 30 years, I don't want your 10 cents. Again, you need to measure what having access to your money or not having access to your money means to you. How many opportunities come across your desk each and every year that if you simply had access to money, you could take advantage of? So when it comes to the perfect retirement, I would ask, perfect for who? I'll show you who. When you buy a mutual fund from Vanguard or say Fidelity, aren't they guaranteed to make a buck? Absolutely. So's the broker-dealer. So's the local agency. And so's the advisor that you buy the mutual fund from. However, who's the only person at risk? You. You are the only person at risk of not making money. I know of no other product or service where you have no recourse if you're not happy with the product. This is the only transaction I can think of. If you buy a shirt at the mall and you come home and you see a hole in the shirt, can't you take it back and get a full refund? Absolutely. If you have a bad meal at a restaurant, you complain to the owner, won't that owner refund your money? Most likely. How about a car? You buy a car, you take it off the lot, you bring it home, and you have nothing but problems. It's called a lemon, and there's a law in place, the lemon law. The dealership will refund your money. However, when you buy a mutual fund, you're on your own. And here's the thing that gets me the most. You box this thing up, and you call it an IRA, a 401k, or a 529 plan. And penalties and taxes deter you from taking the money out, even though you're unhappy. And the only thing you've done is locked up their income stream. You've locked up the income stream for the companies and their employees all along this process for 20 or 30 years. Don't get me wrong. Every company involved here wants you to make a lot of money. Of course they do. All the companies want you to make a lot of money, so do the advisors. Because the more you make, the more they make. But you have to ask yourself, is it the best thing for you? Look at a 529 plan, for example. It's the number one place that people save money for college. You're promised tax-free growth on the money. Yes, you do have tax-free growth. Here's the problem. There's been no growth. College is going up by 7, 8, 9% a year. Yet go find me a 529 plan that's coming close to those returns. Good luck. When you put money into a 401k or a 529 plan or an IRA, the ecosystems and the companies and the people who benefit by you doing so is massive. That's the number one reason why people have money in these plans. Not because they make all the sense in the world, but because we're bombarded by all these institutions making you think it's the best thing to do with your money. But now you know differently. So what you need is a better financial plan. Here's what we try and achieve for each client that we meet with. Our goal is to increase your rate of return while significantly reducing your risk of loss. We strive to minimize your taxes. We're trying to reduce or eliminate all advisor fees. And we're going to show you a strategy that's going to significantly increase the amount of money you actually spend and enjoy during retirement. I can't stress this one enough. This is where we, head and shoulders, will beat any other financial plan out there. We are going to position your money in such a way that you can spend and enjoy more of it, give the government less, and oh, by the way, your kids will get a few bucks too. And we're going to achieve all of this without changing your cash flow one bit and without asking you to incur one bit of increased risk. Do we do this for all of our clients? Do we achieve all of this for our clients all the time? No, we don't. But if your financial plan on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 5 today, and we can get you to a 7 with no additional risk and no cash flow change, who wouldn't want that? Who can we help? We can help Anybody who is consistently saving money and can do so for long periods of time, or if you have chunks of money laying around that you don't need for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years, that's who we should talk to also. If you're looking for a short-term fix, if you're looking for a place to park your money for the next 1, 2, 3 years, that's not us. We're looking to put comprehensive plans together for people who can do so for long periods of time. Whether you can save $200 a month or $5,000 a month, if you're willing to do so for long periods of time, give our office a call. So here's what I suggest. If you haven't done so already, take time to look at the other presentations on our website. They all build on each other. Learn about the 1346 plan and what's behind it. And when you're ready, give our office a call. We can set up a time to talk to you by phone, or you can come into the office, whatever you prefer. We don't care if you're 23 years old or 65 years old. If you're looking for a better financial plan, we'd love to see if we can help you.